What is up, YouTube? This is Alucard AFK with another MTGO game. Not a game, more of a deck tech. I've received numerous comments asking for a deck list of the parallel pop deck that I've been playing, green-white, Selesnya. It's a revision of my parallel VAT deck that rotated out, and although not as strong as Mimic VAT and obviously Grave Titan, we have brought together a bunch of cards with Populate and Parallel Lives that do pretty similar abilities, maybe even more powerful than Grave Titan, because we're doing some Populates and things like that, and copying cards early on in the game. So let's look at our land base. We have 4 plains and 6 forests, and on Temple Garden we have 4. This is a shock land, so when it comes into the battlefield, you can pay 2 life. If you don't, it comes in tap. So early game, yeah, I'll go ahead and pay that life, but late game, I really won't, unless it's for something like a Modern Worm that's going to save her life. So 4 of those, 4 Sun Puddle Groves, green-white. We have 4 of these. Selesnya Guildgate, it comes in tapped anyway. It's a green-white. That can be a disadvantage. A lot of people drop the count to 3 or something. I'm not really worried about it. And make no mistake about it, we are not a ramp deck. There's plenty of ramp decks out there. There's also plenty of aggro decks out there that use green and white Selesnya type cards. This is kind of a mixture of both. I really do surprise most people when they see Parallel Lives come out, and then it dawns on them with the Populate mechanic, I'm going to be generating some serious creatures here. So Grove of the Guardian, we have 2 of these. This is the promo edition that I got with my sealed tournament. We got 1 of those, and for the first time we were actually able to play the promo in the actual game. So this was in my original deck, and it stayed. I've upped the count to 2, so I got another one. So for 1 mana, we can tap for 1 mana. For 5 mana, 3 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white, we can tap, and then we tap 2 untapped creatures you control and sacrifice Grove of the Guardian, put an 8/8 green and white elemental creature token with Vigilance onto the battlefield. So an 8/8 with Vigilance is very nice. He can be removed just like anything else, you know, Doomblade, Murder, whatever. It can also be bounced back, which really hurts because tokens don't go back to your hand, they just die, which is really sad. It'd be nice if Grove of the Guardian just, well, you already sacrificed it, but you know, something came back to your hand for all your worth. I've had some people just laugh at me after I've, you know, paid the 5 mana, tapped 2 creatures, put it out, and it's bounced back, and then I've got nothing on the field but some tokens that are tapped, and so it can be a late game saver. It can also be easily removed. So there's just 2 on the deck. Giant Militant, this is one that I swap in and out. The count, I was running 4 in the deck before I got some of my other cards. So for 1 mana, green or white, you can put out a 2/1. And by itself, it's not bad. A lot of people would choose this spot in a ramping deck for something like Avacyn's Pilgrim or the Elves, to be able to untap your forest or be able to get some cards. So we're not ramping. We have plenty of creatures along the mana base that we don't really need to ramp to anything, but we get to our late game creatures late game. So Shrinkergeist in the 2 mana slot, it's kind of a no-brainer. This is kind of a tip from the aggro decks that are running out there. So for 2 green, he has Haste, Undying, and 2/1. So with the haste, he's actually saved my butt a couple times where I needed to come out and just do 2 damage, and if I had brought out a guy that didn't have haste, we would have lost the game. So, and then early game, he's a powerhouse. But his brother that I'm running in the deck, I would rather get out even more than Shrinkergeist, is Precinct Captain. He was the last card to go in the deck if you watched any of my previous videos, and he's going to remain a 4-drop as well, you know, 4 cards in the deck as well. He's a 2/2 for 2 white, and his first strike, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you put a 1/1 white soldier creature token out. Incredible with Parallel Lives. Early game, he's putting out a bunch of 1/1s that can be attackers or blockers. They're tokens, so you don't really care about them, and then you have Populate mechanics that will essentially copy those tokens. So Selesnya Charm, there's only 1 in the deck. This is another card that I don't want to remove. I do want to up it to at least 2, but I really can't find anything that I want to get rid of. I might get rid of one of the Grove of the Guardians, like I said, because it's a late game thing that you don't always get out. Selesnya Charm has a lot of utility. Target creature gets 2/2 and gains Tample at the end of turn, or exile target creature with 5 or greater. We don't usually use that ability very much. Or put a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance on the battlefield. That is usually what we do. Especially early game for 2 mana, putting out a 2/2 white knight with vigilance is pretty powerful. If I already have some creatures out on the battlefield, we'll go ahead and boost them up with the first ability, give them 2/2 and gain trample until end of turn. So I would like to move that up to maybe 2. Druid's Deliverance, this has saved our butts more times than not. I used to play 4, but I've played enough games to know that 2 is about what you need. It's like a fog. You prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn, but then the nice ability is you populate. So not only can you block all their attacks, you can copy that 3/3 beast that's been sitting by himself out there and give him a brother or sister. So we're running 2 on the deck. Call the Conclave. Used to run 4, it's down to 3 now. For 2 mana, 1 green and 1 white, you can put a 3/3 green centaur creature token on the battlefield. And it's big brother that has a 3/3 green centaur creature with populate we've taken out because it was just a really high costing card, and we always got it late game, so it just wasn't worth keeping it in there, so we took that one out. Luxon Smiter used to run 4 in the deck. Now it's down to 3. He's a 4/4 for 3, 1 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white. He can't be countered, so you can't use the standard now equivalency of Mana Leak or anything like that on him. If a spell or ability an opponent would controls cause you to discard Luxon Smiter, put him on the battlefield instead. And that surprised a lot of discard decks recently. There was a guy that did Mind Rot and had to discard 2 cards. So I put 2 Luxton Smiters out on the battlefield, and you could tell he paused for a minute and said, "What the hell just happened? You supposed to discard some cards. Oh, wait a minute." And they read the card, and then they're like, "Holy crap!" So I put 8 power out onto the field for his Mind Rot. So, but that's not the reason we have him in the deck. We have him in the deck because he's a 4/4 for 3, and he can't be countered. So you get him out when you need him. Centaur Healer, he's saved our butt more than a few times. We only run 2 in the deck, but he is a 1 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white. And when he enters the battlefield, gain 3 life. And he's a 3/3 beyond that, so 3/3 for 3. Again, I would use him anyway, but he gains 3 life. So something a lot of people are playing Heroes Reunion, you get 7 life. I tend not to like cards that just give you life and do nothing else. So this guy can come out as a blocker or attacker, but he also gives you 3 life. So running 2 in the deck, 2 Oblivion Rings. Sometimes I'll swap out something for another Oblivion Ring. I kind of want to run 3 in the deck, but there's only 2. Might actually drop one of these guys for another Oblivion Ring. Root Board Defenses, we don't use this quite a lot, but it's kind of, again, like a Druid's Deliverance. You can populate creatures you control are indestructible this turn. So you have 1 Centaur out there, make another Centaur, make them both invincible. Pretty nice. Tristani, Selesnya's Voice. There's 2 in this deck. It's a legendary creature, so they'll remain at 2 in the deck. It's 2 green, 2 white, so 4 mana converted cost there. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So you're putting out a bunch of tokens. You're putting out a Centaur Healer right behind Selesnya here, and you're gaining 6 life. So, and then on top of that, for 1 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white, you can tap and populate. So you can copy creatures, and it's a good defense. It's 2/5 for 4 mana. That's not bad at all. Parallel Lives, the crux of the deck. So we're obviously running 4 of those, and whenever effect will put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many of those tokens on the battlefield instead. Garruk Primal Hunter, he works really well in my Parallel Vat deck, and he's working pretty well in my Parallel Pop deck. So for 1 loyalty, put a 3/3 green beast creature token on the field. -3, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. I've used that ability only a few times. And -6, the ultimate, put a 6/6 green worm creature token on the battlefield for each land you control. I actually use that quite a bit. So, and why not? You can, for no cost to you really, you're only helping yourself, keep upping that 1 loyalty counter. Keep putting the green 3/3 beast creature tokens on the battlefield. With Peril Lives, you're putting double that amount. And then when you get this -6, unleash all the beasts. Unleash all the worms. Which brings me to our second to last card, a Model Worm. Running 2 in the deck. I did get one of these in my sealed tournament. Did play it very successfully. In limited, you're going to be able to ramp up to them a lot easier than you can in this deck, especially since we're not a ramping deck. But for 6 mana, 2 colorless, 2 green, 2 whites. It's a 5/5. He comes out with Trample, and then he also generates a 5/5 green worm creature token with Trample. So with Parallel Lives, you're putting out a bunch of 5/5s along with the original 5/5. They all have Trample. It's pretty much game over unless they can remove it. And even if they do, you have some friends out. So 2 in the deck. And then Angel of Serenity, I got this in my sealed tournament. It was in my original deck. I ramped up to it quite a bit. And for 7 mana though, it's hard to get out, and that's the reason it's a 1-drop. So it is a 5/6 flying angel. When Angel of Serenity enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards. And then of course, when Serenity leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hands. So it's like an Oblivion Ring, but only for creatures. So, well, that is the deck, and like I said, I swap out cards all the time. So, but this is pretty much the base deck that I wanted to give you guys, and you'll get to see more of this deck coming up. Tell me what you would swap in or out of this deck, and sideboard, like I said, swaps out too many times. I'm not even going to cover that. So, comment, like, and subscribe. We'll catch you later, guys. Bye.